What is up, you guys? Coasters Beasto 9 here to do a request video. Like I said in my last video, guys, I've been seeing your requests. Some of these things I haven't seen, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to do them. I'm absolutely going to get around to them, and this is one of the requests I got. I'm going based off of, what was requested first, and then also, based off of if I've seen it and I own it and whatnot. So this video is going to be in response to, I believe the username was just crying. But I saw your request about ranking Rob Zombie's movies. So this video may not be for everybody. That's fine. I know he has a very specific fan base. So this is going to be ranking Rob's movies from my favorite to my least favorite. And I want to say that I do not own The Lords of Salem, and that is simply because, no, funny story. I did own The Lords of Salem. I let somebody borrow it, and I never got it back. So I'm just going to rebuy it on Blu-ray because things change and I can no longer get a hold of this person. So it was my ex's dad. So yeah, there's that. Definitely not going to reach out and say, hey, bud, can you give me my copy of The Lords of Salem back? But I will include it. I just won't be able to show it. And I'm also not going to go over the Haunted World of El Super Bisto. I have seen that. It's kind of like a shorter animated movie. I don't really consider it in his filmography. It ain't great, but I'm not going to consider it into this. It doesn't factor. But wearing Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 shirt to kind of go with it. So we're going to go right off. I'm going to do 2 videos today, guys. I'm not going to tell you what the next one is until you see it uploaded. But first video we're doing right here is ranking Rob's films from my least favorite to my favorite. And checking in at number 6 of my least favorite Rob Zombie movie is Rob Zombie's 31. Look, guys, if you follow my channel, you know I'm a Rob Zombie fan. I very much dig Rob Zombie. I love his style. I don't know, that kind of grindhouse 70s, dirty looking style of filmmaking. I could go without some of his script writing. I believe me, I know people that are not fans of his, they hate his script writing. They can't stand it. And I understand that, guys. I'm never going to say, oh, Rob Zombie, man, he can really craft some great sentences in his movies. I'm not going to say that. I think he can write good stories. I think he has good ideas. But when they come out onto paper and how they're delivered, like lines and whatnot, how it pertains to the story, I don't think they're done well. But I digress. 31, guys. I actually went and saw this on its special limited release on what day is that? September 1st of 2016. It came out for a day, maybe 2, and then it just then went to Blu-ray, and I don't know. With 31 for me is I love Richard Brake as Doomhead. I think his performance in this movie makes this movie watchable. He is so believable as just a sadistic motherfucker that loves to kill people. It's his job, and he loves it, and it is so believable, and he's frightening in this movie. You can just tell he doesn't care. He's ruthless. And I love that because to sell an idea like this, you need it to be a little believable with the people doing the killing. And just a quick synopsis, if you don't really know about the movie, the idea is there's this group that they kidnap people on Halloween night. They play a game called 31, and you get put basically into it's like a factory, but it's it's this big area, but it's mainly this factory and the surrounding areas of the factory. And you have to survive for 12 hours. You don't get anything if you survive. You survive and you get your life. And Malcolm McDowell and Dee Wallace, and then there's another woman. They're these rich, refined people that run the game, and they bet on it, and they I don't know, it's almost like a form of gambling, who's going to survive. And then they pay a certain amount of people every year to come back and kill them, kill these people. And if you succeed, they'll pay you. If not, well, you die. So it's a pretty basic premise. You have a lot of the same returning characters that he's got in a lot of his movies. Sherry Moon, of course. I believe Meg is Meg Foster. Yeah, Meg Foster's in it. Lou Temple, Richard Brake, a lot of Rob Zombie guys. Jeff Daniel Phillips. My problems with this movie are pretty cut and dry. It's fun, but there is no story to grab onto. It's not scary. It's a little too, in some parts, a little too over the top. Like, we get you're trying to show that these people are like sadistic and messed up, but you could tone some of it down a little bit. I don't know. It's just there's not a lot of substance there. I mean, it's a movie that I have probably watched 3 times, and I'm sure I'll watch it again because I love Richard Brake in it, and I dressed up as Doomhead 2 years ago for Halloween. I mean, his performance is fantastic. If you haven't seen the movie, I would recommend to watch it just for him, but know what you're getting yourself into. It's just not a good movie, guys. This was just a fun idea Rob had. I don't think he really wanted it to be taken seriously, and if he did, that's unfortunate. And then coming in at number 5 is Lords of Salem. Like I said, I don't have that one to show. Lords of Salem for me was like so promising, and it just loses its steam in the last 20 minutes or so. The whole movie is like an acid trip. I wouldn't know. I've never done acid, but that's what a lot of people compare it to, is like an acid trip. It's just very, very weird, and it's got a cool idea, but it never really gets to the point, I don't think. And then I'm in the sense of like the way it should. When it does reach its climax, it's very anticlimactic, and it makes no sense. I wouldn't say it makes no sense, because it makes sense, but you know what I'm saying. It's just, it doesn't fit. It just doesn't feel right. I really enjoy the first half of the movie, but like I said, that final act, it really loses steam, and it lost me, man. So Sherry Moon's kind of sleepwalking through the whole movie. This is probably her weakest performance, in my opinion. I like Ken Forsythe, and I like Jeff Daniel Phillips in it, but I just don't really care for her in this movie. I don't really care for where they went with the story. It drags at some points for sure. And yeah, so those are my criticisms with the movie. I will say the one thing about the movie that is probably it's one of his best, is the cinematography. I mean, the cinematography in this movie is beautiful. The set pieces, the lighting, the shot selection, the angles, a lot of mood. It creates a lot of the mood. It truly is, I don't know, it truly is a beautiful looking movie, but that's really the only positive to it, guys. So number 5 for me is Lords of Salem. Sorry, my dog is barking. Carl, stop! Coming in at number 4 is House of a Thousand Corpses. And then from here on out, I like them all. House of a Thousand Corpses is an interesting movie because I remember I wasn't even a Rob Zombie fan yet, but I was like getting into horror. This was like the early 2000s when this came out. And I remember watching this movie and just being like so unsettled and creeped out. And that's what he was going for with it, so it's effective. But like I remember watching it and I was just like, oh my God, what did I just watch? It's like a fun house, like a haunted house in a movie. And so it's kind of all over the place, but that's what I love about House of a Thousand Corpses. If you haven't seen this movie yet, I don't know if you've been living under a rock or what, but it's essentially, it's a demented, cannibalistic family living in the middle of nowhere. They like to capture people, kill them, and eat them. I mean, that's pretty much how it goes. That's the story. And there's this whole subplot of this old folk tale of a character named Dr. Satan, and it's out there, man. But I really dig this movie. Like I said, this creeped me out when I first watched it, just because it was so unsettling. And it's a fun movie. I would never go as far to say that House of a Thousand Corpses is a great movie, because it's just not. It was Rob Zombie's directorial debut, and you can tell. It also sat on the shelf, I believe, for like 2 years before it got released. Some of the performances are over the top. I like Sid Haig, obviously, as Captain Spaulding. He's great. Bill Moseley as Otis, and Sherry Moon shines in the role of Baby. She shines in that role. Absolutely love her as Baby. It has its downfalls. The pacing is a little weird. The editing is kind of choppy in some points. It's almost like a music video, which, like I said, his directorial debut, and with his background, that makes sense. It's not shot all that well. It's very hacky. It's very shaky. It's pretty short. The ending is supposed to be this big surprise and payoff, but it's not explained, and it really doesn't make much sense. But yeah, you get Rainn Wilson in here, Mr. Dwight Schrute. He's in this movie, which is hilarious to me. And then you get Chris Hardwick from Nerdist and Talking Dead and whatnot. He's in this movie, and so I mean, it's just a cool movie. It's just a fun movie. You know what you're getting yourself into when you watch it, though. It's all over the place, but it's fun, and it's unsettling, and I don't know, just very cool movie. I really enjoy the House of a Thousand Corpses. Clocking in at number 3. Rob Zombie's Halloween. You guys have heard me talk about these movies ad nauseum, so I'm not really going to expand upon the story. You know the story, you know what happens, yada, yada, yada. I'm just going to talk about why it's at number 3. So basically, for me, Rob Zombie's Halloween, when I first saw it in theaters, like when it first came out, I saw it on opening day. I loved it. I remember walking out of the theater and being like, that was fucking awesome. As I got older, upon more rewatches and stuff like that, and kind of delving into the series more, and being where I am now with being a Halloween fan, it kind of tailed off a little bit for me, but not a lot. I very much enjoyed the movie, but I remember when I first saw it, I dug the whole backstory with Michael, and now I don't really care. It's kind of a chore to get through. To be honest with you, it really drags, man. It does at some points. I get what Rob was trying to do with it. I appreciate him being unique and bringing in something new to at the time, 30-year-old franchise. So I appreciate that. But it just wasn't for me. I think Dave Farich is great in the role. And I will say that this is Sherry Moon's best performance to date. When she plays a very, very good beaten down, battered woman, but she refuses to, at least at the beginning, refuses to let it affect how she treats her kids and what kind of mom she is. Later in the movie, there's a really powerful emotional scene with her, and you just really buy into it. I'm a fan of this movie. I thoroughly enjoy Rob Zombie's Halloween. Like I said, the first 45 minutes at this point in my life now have become kind of a chore to get through, and that's what makes it 3 rather than being higher. But it's still a very, very good movie, in my opinion. It brought new life into the franchise, and I'll forever be grateful to Rob Zombie's Halloween. Say what you will about it. Like I said, his script writing, the dialogue sometimes is hard to watch, but I'll forever be grateful to this movie. First Halloween movie I ever saw in theaters. So, yeah. Coming in at number 2, and if you see this as number 2, then you know what number 1 is, so don't just clock out of the video now. Listen to my explanations, please. Thank you. Number 2, The Devil's Rejects. This, for a lot of people, is their favorite Rob Zombie movie. This was actually pretty well received critically. the fans, a lot of horror movie fans seem to enjoy this movie. This movie was nowhere near as divisive as all his other movies, which is crazy because this movie is pretty fucking over the top. And I remember my mom caught me watching this when I was like 12, 13, and she flipped. So yeah, but Devil's Rejects pretty much it's a sequel to House of a Thousand Corpses. Picks up however long after that movie. I think it's a couple days or whatever. Maybe it's a couple months. But yeah, it's probably like a couple months, maybe a year. I don't know. That's not important. But they get found out. The cops show up. They basically smoke them out of their house. They're on the run, and it becomes almost like a pseudo road movie slash Western in some senses of the word, to like Grindhouse, to just straight sadistic fun. There is a lot of carnage candy in this movie. If you are a fan of blood and guts and things that will make your stomach turn, this is the movie for you. There's a lot. I thoroughly enjoy this movie. I feel like they all upped their game from House of a Thousand Corpses. I like Sherry Moon even better in this movie as Baby. I like Bill Moseley even better as Otis, and I like Sid Haig even better as Captain Spaulding. So they all upped their game, and feel like they gave much better performances. This movie is a lot better directed. I mean, looks a lot better. The soundtrack is fantastic. The kills are great. The execution of a simple story idea, it's executed very, very well. Like I said, a lot of people, there are people that go as far to call this one of the modern horror classics. I don't know if I'm there, but I thoroughly, thoroughly enjoy Devil's Rejects. And like I said, if you are a fan of just movies that don't hold anything back, this is for you. It's like that. House of a Thousand Corpses is like that, but this is just done better. Much, much better all around the board. Better acting, better cinematography, better story, better kills, better editing. It's House of a Thousand Corpses on steroids, and a little more believable, a little less of that. Actually, there's really not a lot of like acid trippy shit at all. This is very grounded. It's a very realistic movie. It plays on realism a lot. Rob does that in a lot of his movies. So yeah, Devil's Rejects clocks in at number 2. And then everybody knows what number 1 is now, so no suspense. My number 1 Rob Zombie movie is Halloween 2. Like I said, I know a lot of people don't agree with this, and guys, that's totally okay. Like, I'm never going to tell you you're wrong for not liking this movie. I'm never going to say that my opinion is fact. I like the movie. I don't just like it, I love it. I remember being in junior high. Was I in junior high? 10 years ago. Yeah, or no, I was a freshman in high school, and I remember coming home every day, and anytime they released a new set photo, and then they released like a 45-second teaser, and I was Googling this thing every single day. I was following this movie. I was so excited for this movie. I couldn't sleep the night before it came out. Like, I was so excited. And I remember watching it and I loved it. I mean, I loved it in the theater. To me, it's still one of the greater theater experiences I've had. You guys know I prefer the theatrical edition. I don't need to get into that. I've talked enough about Halloween. But to me, man, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is everything that Rob does well and everything that he doesn't do well upped one and then put together. Sometimes Rob goes a little too far with his imagery and it doesn't make any sense to the story. It makes sense here. Now, whether you like it or not, that's totally opinion. I mean, it really is. It really is. Whether you like the idea of the white horse and the dream sequences and stuff, that's totally opinion. But it makes sense to the story. I mean, the story that he's trying to tell, it does make sense. It is relevant. So he finally was able to incorporate that kind of acid trippy stuff into a coherent story, which was, I think, for me, it brought everything about Rob Zombie together, and he did it his best. He made his own movie with Michael Myers. I love Rob Zombie, So to have a director that I like so much put his own flavor into my favorite franchise, it was the best of both worlds. I took it as its own thing. It is a Halloween movie. Michael Myers is there. Laurie Strode is there. But I knew it wasn't a remake of Halloween 2. This was Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. So the style and the tone you had from his first one is going to carry over into this one. So I knew that going into it. And I thoroughly enjoy the movie. There are some truly heartbreaking scenes in this movie when Laurie finds Annie and when Brackett finds Annie. When Laurie discovers she's Michael's sister. The cinematography is beautiful. The way that you see trauma affect these characters in different ways is incredible. Very believable by Scout Taylor Compton and Danielle Harris and even Dr. Loomis. I'm not a fan that he was a dick in this movie. I'll never say I liked that, but it made sense. His patient became a notorious serial killer, maybe the most notorious, so he cashed in on it. I don't like it, but it made sense. You can see a character taking that, that step, if that were to happen. And so, to me, this is just his best all-around movie. Acting-wise, the kills are great. Tyler Mane is a fantastic Myers. Even a lot of people that don't like Rob's movies say they like Tyler Mane as Myers. The soundtrack, his soundtracks always kick ass. I don't care who you are, they always kick ass. It's just to me, it's a beautiful tragedy type of movie. It's a horror movie, but it's a drama at the same time, and it's a truly tragic story. I will always love Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Nobody will ever be able to change my mind. If you guys don't like it, that's okay. But yeah, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 being my #1 Rob Zombie movie. And very excited for 3 from Hell because you guys know, as I just talked about, I was a fan of House of Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects. So I'm very excited for 3 from Hell. I just wish we could get a freaking trailer already. So yeah, guys, that's it for this video. I appreciate you guys watching if you did. If you don't agree with me, please do not dislike and leave hateful comments. They're not for everyone. Rob Zombie's an acquired taste. I will never say he's not. So I'm not trying to change your mind. I just wanted to do one of the requests I got. So Crying, that I did this request for you. My next video is also a request. So they'll actually be uploaded at the same time. So go ahead and click on to the next video. And thanks for tuning in, guys.